Welcome to the new news with your host Olivia Jane, where we discuss what the hell is going on around the world and how it affects the average person like you and me. In America, the shooting of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson on December 4th had social media in a frenzy, rallying behind an unknown suspect as the ultimate eat-the-rich hero. Fans of the mysterious gunman spun him as a real-life Jason Bourne, weaving fantasies of a stealthy Avenger slipping through Manhattan undetected. That myth fell apart on December 9th when police arrested 26-year-old Luigi Mangioni, not in some high-stakes hideout, but at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania. The supposed super spy was spotted ordering fries, blowing his cover thanks to an eagle-eyed employee. Adding to the irony, Mangioni isn't the underdog of Twitter lore. He comes from a very privileged background, and his true motives for murder remain unclear. Bashar al-Assad, the longtime dictator of Syria, notorious for his brutal crackdown on dissent and the use of chemical weapons against civilians, has been welcomed in Moscow. Russia's ambassador to international organizations, Mikhail Ulandov, shared the news on X, exclaiming, "Breaking news! Bashar al-Assad and his family are in Moscow. Russia does not betray friends in difficult situations." A sentiment that's as heartwarming as it is chilling. Syria, a nation that has spent over a decade grappling with the chaos of civil war, now finds itself the unwitting star of a geopolitical plot twist. After years of being one of the world's most ignored and war-torn nations, Syria's rebels, many once labelled as dangerous extremists, might soon find themselves off the banned terrorist list and being put onto the good terrorist list? It could be that the UK government, eager to find new allies in the Middle East, sees an opportunity to recast them as misunderstood revolutionaries. Israel, long the unchallenged regional superpower, has always kept one weary eye on its neighbours. Syria, once considered too broken to pose a threat, now has the potential to be a wild card. As Assad consolidates control and external players like Iran deepen their footprint, the possibility of a reinvigorated northern front is now a very real concern for Israel, who, with all its military, might find itself troubled not by conventional armies, but by guerrilla tactics and insurgent strategies. It is feared by many that Syrian rebels may pivot from fighting Assad to becoming a thorn in Israel's side. Rupert Murdoch and his family have long been seen as the family that inspired the hit TV series Succession, with the parallels being obvious. Both stories revolve around a family bound by blood but divided by ambition. Both feature a patriarch reluctant to relinquish control and children grappling with the weight of legacy. Rupert Murdoch, the indomitable force behind the global media conglomerate that includes Fox News, The Times, and The Wall Street Journal, has spent a lifetime consolidating power. His media empire has shaped politics, influenced public opinion, and built a fortune few can rival. With Rupert stepping back, it was expected that Lachlan would take over the company. But in a move straight out of the TV series, a Nevada commission found that Rupert and Lachlan had acted in bad faith and used their efforts to amend the family trust and strip voting power away from the other children, including James, Elizabeth, and Prudence. All the Murdoch children have varied visions for the company. Lachlan, the eldest, was seen as the natural successor and has long been the most aligned with his father's conservative political leanings. James, in contrast, has distanced himself from Fox's ideological positioning, hinting at a more progressive approach to media. Elizabeth, arguably the most independently successful of the Murdoch children, has built her own extremely successful career in television production with global hits like MasterChef. And Prudence, the least public of the siblings, holds her cards close, but has an equal stake in the outcome. The multi-billion-dollar question is what happens to the Murdoch empire? In an industry already grappling with seismic changes, from digital disruption to declining ad revenue, a divided leadership could weaken the company's competitive edge. As the Murdochs navigate this uncharted territory, one thing is certain. The next chapter of their story will be written not just in boardrooms and legal documents, but also in the headlines they've spent decades shaping. Donald Trump met with Prince William at the reopening of Notre Dame Cathedral. The president-elect described their 30-minute conversation as great, noting he asked about the prince's wife, Catherine, and father, King Charles III. He loves his wife. He loves his father. It was very sad, Trump said, referring to the king fighting hard. Royal sources clarified that this was about Charles's active lifestyle, not his ongoing cancer treatment. As in tradition, Kensington Palace offered no comment on Trump's colourful recollections. The meeting, quickly arranged amid the Paris event, was seen as a diplomatic gesture by Prince William to keep the UK-US special relationship in good standing. Trump, a self-professed royal fan, also shared a flashback to his encounter with the late Queen Elizabeth II. According to Trump, she avoided revealing her favourite US president, but naturally, he concluded, many people have said I was her favourite. Trump also took time to heap praise on French President Emmanuel Macron for the restoration of Notre Dame. You have no idea how good a job you did, he said. That's very hard to do. Painstaking. I don't know why he sounds Italian. Volkswagen workers in Germany are striking due to a combination of job insecurity and pay cuts being proposed by the company. The workers, represented by the IG Metall Union, are understandably upset over Volkswagen's plans to cut jobs, close plants, and introduce waves of redundancies. The company has also suggested a 10% pay cut for workers across the board. This is seen as an effort by the company to improve its financial standing, but it comes at the expense of its workforce, creating significant unrest. For over a century, the motor industry stood as a symbol of progress, innovation, and prosperity. Yet today, this once mighty sector finds itself in a freefall, a phenomenon mainstream media has cleverly called Car-mageddon. The decline is startling, with traditional car manufacturers, long resistant to change, are now racing to pivot, only to find themselves outpaced by tech-driven upstarts like Tesla. With consumer habits shifting to cheaper alternatives like e-bikes, ride-sharing, remote work, and public transport, and even walking, the ownership of a car for many is not affordable anymore. The romanticized version of freedom on four wheels is being replaced by practical, eco-conscious reality. China's rapid adoption of electric vehicles is reshaping the global oil outlook. Currently, EVs account for 10% of cars on Chinese roads, a figure projected to exceed 20% by 2027 and approach 100% by the 2040s. As the world's largest oil importer, China's shift away from fossil fuels has alarmed oil majors, especially given its 41% contribution to global oil consumption growth over the past 3 decades. Turin, once dominated by Fiat's car factories, has transformed itself in the last 20 years into a public transport and biking heaven. Today, it's crisscrossed by 80 bus routes, 8 tram lines, 22 subway stations, and 258 kilometers of bike lanes. Some 95% of Turin residents now live within 300 meters of a transit stop, and fewer than half of local trips happen in a car. The result of all this progress is continued falling car sales, factory closures, and a seismic shift in the global economy. Iconic brands are teetering on the edge, and once thriving industrial hubs face economic stagnation. Global access to electricity continues to improve. The number of people without electricity dropped from over 760 million in 2022 to below 750 million in 2023. Milestones include India and Indonesia achieving universal access by 2022 and Bangladesh following in 2023. Early data for 2024 indicates this positive trend is set to continue. Remarkable progress in combating AIDS has been made in Africa and India. Since 2010, over 2.6 million new HIV infections in children have been prevented in Eastern and Southern Africa, marking a historic public health achievement. In India, new HIV cases have declined by 44%, outpacing the global reduction rate of 39%. Christian institutions are leading the charge in divesting from fossil fuels. A big meeting of Christian organizations announced that 27 religious groups have pulled their investments from fossil fuels. These institutions, which collectively manage $3 trillion in assets, are acting in line with Pope Francis's insightful idea, emphasizing environmental responsibility and care for the planet. Austria has successfully transitioned away from Russian gas, replacing it with renewable energy sources. After Gazprom cut off its gas supply in November, ending 50 years of reliance, Austria has leveraged a strong year for hydropower and wind energy. This shift, combined with ongoing efforts to move away from fossil fuels, has left utilities well prepared to operate with minimal gas supplies in the coming months. Thank you so much for watching this week's new news. Make sure to interact with this video as much as you can and find us on socials. I'll see you next week for more new news. Bye!